So, is there anything else? Speed triple sold, this bike ECU flashed, 5,000 subscribers, I.A.M riding course, track day van. No, I think that's about it. Hi there, Rikky Tang here. Hope you're doing well. I am. It's the 1st of November and it's relatively dry on the road and the sun's out, so this is excellent. Going to do a little bit of shopping first on this ride. Going to buy some Vulcanet wipes. Great stuff, that is. Good at cleaning bits of your bike and removing bug splats and other contaminants from your bodywork and metalwork. So I like that stuff a lot. And after that, I'll get you caught up with what's been happening in my world. Right, well, my world no longer has the Triumph Speed Triple in it. I sold it, well, probably a good month ago now. I was advertising it for £1,500, which I thought was a pretty decent price, but basically I had no takers. Nobody was interested, pretty much. But I left it at that price just in case someone did see the advert and like what they saw, and eventually somebody did. So they're actually very local. They're in Gloucester as well. I sold it for $1,350, and yeah, that's a reasonable drop from $1,500. But in my mind, when it comes to haggling, I don't mind if I'm selling something dropping 10%, but I don't like dropping much more than that. And 1,500 minus 10% is 1,350. So I'm happy to sell it on to someone who I think will be a bit blown away by it in the early days, because they're moving up in the bike ownership world, and they're coming from a 650, and this will be their second bike. So yeah, they should have some fun on that. So I had £1,350 burning a hole in my pocket. I thought I better put some of it to good use, and I did. I got this bike, my GSX 8R, over to BSD Tuning near Peterborough, and I got it on the dyno, and I got the ECU flashed. So the sum total of the mods on this bike then, now the Akrapovic underslung exhaust, and the airbox mod, like the stage 1 airbox mod as it's kind of commonly known, which is removing the snorkels and removing a couple of filters or a couple of bits of media either side of the stock air filter. And then yeah, over to BSD, got it tuned up. I'll show you the well, I'll show you a little bit from the dyno session. I recorded a little bit of it. As you might know, BSD Tuning's dyno is a bit of a heartbreaker, and my mods are modest, and my exhaust still has a catalytic converter in it. So 76 horsepower at the wheel, I don't think is too bad on BSD's dyno. If you add maybe, I don't know, 11-12% to account for drive chain losses, then we're at about maybe 85 horsepower at the crank, something like that. But it's not about the numbers, really. Well, that I would say that, wouldn't I? But it really isn't about the numbers. It's about how the bike feels, and the bike feels noticeably stronger everywhere with the sum total of all my mods. It's not night and day. You know, it doesn't turn it into a rip snorting beast of a bike, but it has improved it. It improves part throttle a lot. I didn't even realize that my bike was particularly kind of snatchy coming on and off the throttle, and it wasn't really. But now I've had the flash done, you know, all the Euro 5 gubbins that make bikes worse to ride have been reversed, and yeah, the throttling on now is really lovely. Very pleased with that. So performance is better, feels stronger, but one of the best bits about it is what it's done for the induction noise. Now I've modified the airbox. Don't know if you hear this. I'm going to bring it down a gear or two. When I bought this bike initially, it was almost electric in terms of how quiet the thing was. Very, very unassuming. And the nice thing about the induction noise is it's probably not that loud to passers-by. So I've got a road legal exhaust. So my bike ultimately is not very loud or intrusive in the countryside. But to me, I get to hear essentially, you know, the engine. Even though it is induction, I hear the bike working, and I'm really pleased about that. Tomorrow, I embark on some advanced rider training. I've joined the I.A.M, Institute of Advanced Motorists, and I'm going to take an advanced motorcycling course, the name of which escapes me, and I will put here. So tomorrow is the first day, like I said. I expect it'll be more of a case of kind of getting to know the instructor, them getting to know me, and understanding the lesson plan. But looking forward to it. However, there is a kind of an elephant in the room in the shape of winter. It's November and winter's coming, and I'm not much of a all-season rider, I've got to admit. So unfortunately, I do have a strong suspicion I might actually suspend the courses after one or two as winter sets in, and then yeah, resume back in spring, or maybe even start again in spring. One of the things they mention about this course, or advanced riding courses generally, is once you've had a lesson, don't stop riding, keep practicing until the next lesson. And the problem is I work essentially a 8:30 to 5 job most weeks. Sometimes I'm traveling and hours are a bit longer, but every time I finish work it's going to be dark now, dark and cold and wet. And like I said, I'm not much of a all-season rider, so I will not be very encouraged to get out on the bike. So we'll see how it goes. Looking forward to the first lesson anyway. I won't record it, I won't have any cameras, because I just want to concentrate on the lesson itself and not make a hash of things looking at my cameras and trying to work out whether they're still recording and all that sort of thing. The next story I've got for you is potentially a bit of a biggie. Now, as you may know if you've following the channel for a while. Oh, before I talk about my next story, a bigger story. I've managed to reach 5,000 subscribers on the channel. Yay! That happened yesterday. It's been a long time coming, basically because my output has dropped significantly in the last couple of years. I guess on average I'm doing about one video a month nowadays, when it used to be pretty much a video a week. So basically it's my own fault for the slow growth of the channel, but 5,000 is a nice milestone. It's taken me 6 years, I think, to get there. And I started kind of really putting some effort into this channel maybe 5 years ago, summer or spring 2020, when COVID was biting, but we'd just been allowed to start traveling a bit more. And one company that's basically been with me all the way since I started putting some effort into my channel is Frasers of Gloucester. There's those kind souls that let me out on their demo bikes and started allowing me to make bike reviews, and I'm still doing it, so thank you very much to all the folks at Frasers. So back to the story I was going to tell you. If you follow my channel for any length of time, then you know I like the odd track day, or track days on odd bikes, because I've got an S1000 XR and I've got this bike. They're the bikes I've been using for my track days in the last couple of years. Neither of them are, you know, perfectly suited to track day duty. This one's better suited, as you can imagine, a bit more sporty in its ergonomics, but it's still quite an upright kind of road sports bias machine. And obviously the BMW is really not that suitable, although I have a great time on that bike at the track. But on both bikes, I've been grinding the foot pegs to atoms. So ground clearance is an issue. For this bike I've got riser plates from TSD Industries. I'll have my foot pegs on a higher position. The BMW I can't do a lot about unless I spend quite a bit of money on a whole new foot peg assembly, get some rear sets, but that's not really what the bike's about. It's a compromise at the track. Obviously it's big and it's heavy, suspension's relatively soft, so ultimately I think what I need for the track is a proper sports bike ergonomics. Not too excessive though, because I'm a bit of an old git now. I don't want to be folded up like a pretzel on a motorbike. But, you know, I need something with proper clip-ons, something with a good chassis and suspension designed for sporty use. But that costs money. And that's not the only problem. Although I want a sporting bike for the track, I don't want to have to ride a sporting bike to the track. At this stage in my life, and I might change my mind at some point, but ultimately I don't want to be riding sports bikes for long distances. And for me, for a sports bike, 80 miles on the motorway is a long distance. I'm just not interested. And besides, sports bikes struggle to carry luggage. When I go to a track day on a bike, I don't wear my track day leathers, they go in a top box, and then I'll typically have a roll bag of all my other stuff. So I need a bit of carrying capacity. So what I need is a van. Yeah, I think the best option open to me, well, there's two options really. You could always hire a bike when you get to a track day, or you can get a van and get a more sporty bike. The problem with hiring a bike is you don't get to ride it in between track days, so you're always kind of on catch up getting used to the bike on a track day. You know, if it's your own bike, then you key into it, you kind of understand how it works, because you're riding it not just on track days but on the road as well. Typically my plan is to buy a road legal sports bike. So yeah, the hiring option, if I had megabucks and I could do maybe, I don't know, 10 track days a year maybe, but I haven't got megabucks. So I think the van and a used sports bike is probably a better combination. Besides, the van, you know, can do multiple things. It doesn't have to just transport my motorbike places. I could become a man with a van to my friends and family, get big items transported, maybe to the tip or recycling centre, as they're called nowadays. So I see some positives to having a van. Negatives are I'm going to have to insure, tax and MOT another vehicle. And there's a small issue of me not being able to afford a van unless I sell the S1000XR, or potentially this bike. But it seems to be, well, A, I'll get more money for the XR, and B, if I'm not taking the XR to the track anymore, then that's one less reason to own it. It is great on the road, and I've enjoyed it very much on the road, but I have just clocked over 10,000 miles on that bike since I bought it, so I've got a fair amount of use out of it. And if my priorities are shifting, which I feel they might be, then I think I have to take some action. So I've been looking quite a bit at vans and YouTube videos about turning vans into well, camper vans and track day vans or day vans. And there's certainly a lot more videos on converting vans into campers than converting them into track day vans. So that's what I've been mostly watching. And the kind of van that tickles my fancy is probably a short wheelbase Vauxhall Vivaro or Renault Traffic. I think they're essentially the same van. Could be a Transit, but I've been spooked by the stories of certain engines on those Transits, the ones with the submerged timing belt, the wet belt. I've been hearing some horror stories, probably blown out of all proportion, but I'm still learning, I'm still researching, and ultimately there may be nothing wrong with Transits, and they could well be a good option. So Vivaro Transit size, and my budget for the van is probably about, well, I'll probably get carried away eventually, but £4,000 to £5,000, maybe £6,000. And a consideration I've got, something else I've got to think about, is lack of parking space. My parking options are relatively limited. What I'd love is a long wheelbase van with a high roof. Vans typically come in 3 designations for length and 3 designations for height. L1, L2 and L3, short wheelbase, medium wheelbase, long wheelbase, and H1, H2, H3, standard height, extra height, highest height. So I'd love an L2, H2, that would be about right for me, I think. But I think my parking issues in the front garden means I'll have to get an L1 short wheelbase van. But I'm still thinking, I haven't actually measured up these vans yet, and once I've figured out how long they are, I'll get a tape measure out and start measuring up the front garden. So if anyone out there has gone the track day van route, then let me know your story. So, is there anything else? Speed triple sold, this bike ECU flashed, 5,000 subscribers, I.A.M riding course, track day van. No, I think that's about it. So I think I'll wrap the video up, but not without thanking all the people over the years who have watched my videos, liked my videos, disliked my videos, commented on them, and subscribed to the channel. Long may this continue. Like I mentioned earlier, my current output is not very impressive on the channel. I've got a couple of bike reviews to come though. I've ridden the Royal Enfield Himalayan 450 or 452 and the BMW R1300 RSE. Both bikes really impressive in their own rights, and basically I want to buy both of them. But yeah, one of those videos will probably be out in the next week or so. So a couple of bike review videos on their way, a 10,000 mile update on my S1000 XR, and maybe a video on the European trip I took last September 2024, that is actually, on my S1000 XR. Problem with making that video is I've got so much footage. Every time I start to look at what I've got, I get a bit overwhelmed. It's like, this is going to take me ages. But one day I'll get it done. Until next video folks, though, take care of yourselves. Ta-da!